Hello, hello.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay.
Mauricio. How are you?
We had some technical difficulties, so I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So we're still having people coming in. And I'm actually just going to start the webinar now. We have you here now.
Oh,
So how are you?
I'm great, Alex. How are you? I'm gonna go on my Bluetooth here for you guys, so it's just easier for all of us as we get this thing going. Um, but I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, good. It's been awesome. And yet I know that there's a lot of folks here really looking forward to hearing from you. I see that people are still joining right now. I'm literally getting messages still. And so I think we're going to have a really good discussion today about what to do about reopening. And I think, I really want to hear about what's happening in your neck of the woods and in your
Thank,
world.
thank you. It's so good to see you, and it's so good to be with you. I think the last time I saw you, we were on the top of a building in, was it
New
San
York City.
Francisco or New York? Right, exactly.
It was in New York City. You had just finished CEO. We had just finished CEO Connect, and we
Yeah.
were talking about a bunch of different things, especially with uh, in our industry, and then who would have known? Who would have predicted 2 weeks later? Literally from that time, I think it was like maybe 3 weeks later, that we would be dealing with a pandemic, and that our worlds, all the things we talked about, I think then seems kind of small in comparison to all that. So
Yeah.
everything that's happening now, we were talking about, I think we were talking about, the NAR thing, about pocket listings, but yeah, it was all sorts of things. But today, what I wanted to welcome all the attendees that have joined. I mean, we had a few hundred people join this webinar wanting to hear directly from you, Mauricio. And so I don't know if you got the questions, but let's get into it. I think right now, for everyone who's joining our weekly webinar, as you know, this is about, it's put on by Propy. It's about how to run your business online, especially during this pandemic, and really talking about to some of the leaders in our industry, and Mo being absolutely one of them, tips on what we can do and what we're seeing. And I actually listened to you, Mo, on your Inman interview, and one of the things you said is, we got to be preparing for the reopening. And so that brought a light bulb up in me, and I wanted to talk to you about that. And that's why a lot of the folks here are tuning in. So, why don't we start with this? Can you tell me, and I know you started the agency. How many years has it been?
So we are in our ninth year. In September, it'll be 9 years. So we're in that ninth year. We started it in Labor Day weekend in September. So 9 years ago.
So 9 years ago. So let me ask you, when you started the agency 9 years ago, what were the reasons why you started it, and has that changed or expanded since, in the past 9 years?
Yeah, I think that we started kind of a frustration in terms of what was going on in the world in terms of real estate agencies and what we were seeing from a residential perspective, from the professionalism that was being exhibited by all of our now competitors. There was just a frustration on that. There was a disparity of agents really kind of just marketing themselves. Real estate brokerages were not giving a lot of tools and services to their agents. It was kind of a lot of fluff and a lot of BS and nothing real and concrete. And it was just very frustrating because I would go in and I would pitch for a listing and I would say all these incredible things, and yet I couldn't necessarily deliver on any of those incredible things that I was pitching. And so that was always frustrating because we were pitching some great ideas, but we weren't able to deliver them, right? So but the idea was to create an agency that actually delivers on all of the things that it pitches on. Okay.
Right.
So primarily we wanted to give services to our agents. We wanted to change marketing, and we did. You know, the one thing that I didn't realize was going to be so easy to do was to actually kind of copy the marketing. You know, I thought there was going to be a little bit more barriers to entry, and, you know, not so quickly. And I didn't think we were going to have to be so innovative and so fast in terms of changing all of our messaging constantly and kind of staying on top of the game, and that rat race, which, you know, now we're not so, you know, in these times, we're kind of like just thankful that we're not in that rat race for a minute. Right.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, you know, we changed and we changed it globally. To be honest with you, we're the ones that, in my opinion, changed the way that, you know, when you used to sell a home, you sold a 4-bedroom home, 3 bathrooms, granite countertops, beautiful backyard, 3,000 feet, and, you know, and whatever the amenities were, you know, and we completely changed that, and we changed it to selling lifestyle and selling your community and what you're doing in your community and what you're doing in your home and what you're, you know, how you're using your home and how you're living your home. And, you know, funny enough, you know, thinking about that now in the quarantine times when we're all at home, right?
Right.
And quite honestly, the home is becoming a lot more important again, which is beautiful. And I love to watch that. But, you know, as that home becomes a lot more important, those amenities that you're selling, that lifestyle that you were selling, has become extremely important. And I think is just, it's part of, you know, what the home really is. The home is, you know, physically a home, but metaphorically, what the home is where you build memories, where you share experiences, where your kids grow up, where you know, you and your wife or you and your husband or your partner are together, and you create things, you know. So the home is much more than the physical space that you live in, and I think we've all learned that now, particularly where we've had to be home for, you know, 2 months.
So what are the top advice that you're giving, number one, to your agents and brokers, and number two, because I know you still sell, and that's one of the things I really admire about you, Mo, is that not only are you, you know, starting this incredible brokerage, but, you know, in the past 9 years you've grown so much, but that you still sell. You are still plugged in. You have your ear to the ground. So give me both perspective, both of the Mo hats, so to speak. You know, the brokerage hat. What do you say at your team meetings to your team to keep them, you know, motivated and seeing, you know, the positive? And then what do you say to your sellers and buyers?
Great question. Let's see if I can remember all of that. So I don't have 2 hats on me right now, but I'll switch hats. You know, I'm very good at switching hats, and I can take one at a time. And, you know, one of the things that I do is literally take one at a time. And I you know, I have my moments where I am the CEO, and then I have my moments where I am a real estate agent, right? So, you know, right now, as the CEO of the company and the agency, I think one of the things that we realized, and that we quickly, early in this stay-at-home pandemic situation, realized is that we're not perfect. We've always known we're not perfect, and that we have a bunch of flaws. But when we arrived to this situation, and we saw that we early in this game, that we were going to be in an unidentified period of time locked at home, and we didn't know what that was going to look like, and we didn't know what sales were going to look like. We didn't know if volume was going to drop to 0 or to 30% or to 9%. We were going to be stopped working, and that we were at a complete pause. And one of the things that we did as a company is we made fast decisions. And we're taking advantage to have a restart. So we are reworking all of our operations to become a much more efficient company, much more effective company, and took advantage of this time to restructure and to reorganize while the rest of the world was not getting ahead anymore. So we've reorganized all of our marketing. We've reorganized all of our transaction coordination. We're launching a new website tomorrow or the next day. Our CRM system has gotten a lot better. You know, I think we're the only company that has 100% usage and participation in the CRM system, particularly with everybody being home. It's become extraordinarily important. We're really taking a huge effort in looking at our franchising around the world and around the globe, which I think is going to be the best way for us to grow. And I think one of the most important things that we are are completely different than any other franchisor in the world, is all of our franchisees are part of our family. We don't even differentiate, you know, franchisees versus company-owned stores. I say it in these type of meetings only because there has to be a differentiator, and I almost have to find a different word for them. But all of our franchisees have the full transparency into the company. They are all part of the same CRM system, which is really more of a full ERP system. It's a full enterprise system. Transaction coordinating, marketing, build your own, from A to Z. You're building your own social media, your own digital campaigns. Everything can happen. And all of our companies, whether it's company owned or franchisees, have the exact same access, the same transparency. And when we have meetings, everybody's on it. It's just not the company owned. It's absolutely everybody. So super exciting about that. And so, yeah, we've really taken a look at absolutely every vertical in our company and quite honestly jumped on it early and reorganized every single vertical.
Right. So so you're saying you're working on a number of things. It sounds like the agency and all of your offices are really taking this time of slowing down to really retweak and, you know, reorganize things. And I'm glad you brought up, because I was going to ask you, I know that I hear that you're growing and that you're franchising the agency. And it's funny because after I spoke to you last time, I asked a few people and they didn't realize you guys were franchising. So this is the good thing. So what sets, you know, the agency apart from any other franchise that's out there? Now, why would, you know, interested in opening an office choose the agency as compared to all the other places that are out there?
A couple of reasons. I think the primary reason why, and I'm the most proud of it, is that, you know, the agency is a small boutique family luxury firm. Okay. And the family part is the critical part of that statement that I just said, is that we are all a family. And as we grow, we're looking for family members to grow with us. And I can tell you that when a franchisee joins us, that they really do become part of the family. And it's not just somebody that joins the agency and then we say, all right, go open up your shop and go sell and do all of that stuff. Like we deliver a bunch of different services to our franchisees, whether it's the CRM, whether it's the marketing and the digital campaigns, whether it's the collaboration and the systems that everybody's using, the networking that everybody's using, so that we're able to really create great referral source to all of the different areas that we have and kind of maintain our clients within one organization. Secondly, you know, we're only 9 years old and we're, at the end of the day, we are really still tiny and we're not all that important. But from a brand perspective, and that's really what some of these people care about, from a brand perspective, we are the most followed brand on social, real estate brand on social media, right? So, you know, I have 37 offices, 600 agents, and, you know, 300,000 followers on Instagram, to give you an example. You know, Sotheby's, who is the second most followed brand, has a lot more offices, you know, hundreds of thousands, thousands and tens of thousands of agents. And they have a...
I actually have the numbers right here to share.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Thank you. And they have, you know, 40,000 less followers than we do. So, you know, you're really buying a brand that's that's globally recognized. I mean, I can tell you, you know, you put on, you know, one of our agency hats and you get off your boat on Capri and go up, you know, you're going to get stopped. Yesterday, I was walking in the valley here in Encino, where I live, and I was wearing my hat and my shirt and my mask, and nobody knew who I was. And I got stopped twice because two people walking said, "Oh, the agency, say hi to Craig Nizick, or say hi to Jimmy Hirsch," or, you know, and it was the brand that was recognized, not the face. And so, you know, so for those reasons is, you know, the reason, but again, the primary reason, it's the boutique, the family, and the amount of services that we offer our franchisees.
Right. So I have a question here from the audience. Do you feel that the office structure would change, and what would change? Since we're talking about, you know, especially after COVID-19, like mortar.
So you cut out for one quick second. What changed? I'm so sorry. Technology.
Yeah. Do you think that offices will change now that people are working more remotely? after COVID-19?
So I think offices are definitely going to change. I think that, people we're realizing that our efficiency levels at home are quite high. People are actually on their own, kind of seem to be working, more hours. They can get their stuff done. It becomes more project oriented, completion versus, tapping in your amount of hours. Who is it that just announced? Is it Google that just announced that they were, not going to take, 12 million square feet of offices or take reduction in 12 million square feet of office space? I think we're all learning how to work differently. I don't think coming out of this, we're going to have a complete, we're still going to go back to some of our old ways, but we're going to learn from what we've done and have a lot more efficient ways of working, where the office is going to become less important. Quite honestly, the home's going to become more important. The home office, the amenities that are in your home, the stuff that you're looking at your home are going to become a lot more important. From a real estate brokerage perspective and real estate agents perspective, depends on your home and depends on what's going on. Right now, I do know that there's a lot of people that have a lot of distractions at home, whether it's the 3 kids and Johnny, throwing stuff or
Right.
needing to learn or wanting a snack in the middle of a Zoom call, right? That we're all having a conversation on.
Right.
So everybody's going to be different. I mean, the office space is not going to go away, but I definitely think that the office space is going to change. We also have to look at it from a COVID perspective, and the short term, the first 18 months, what is that going to look like? Is it going to be are we going to require that we have 30% personnel less in office space in order to maintain social distancing? What is going to happen from a reopening in terms of cleanup and bacterial and antibacterials? Are landlords going to start adding HEPA filters to their air conditioning systems to kill 99% of the germs? Right. We don't know that yet, right? But that's going to all come into effect.
Well, I know that the agency has built out proprietary, and Mauricio, you and I talk a lot about tech because Propy is a real estate tech company. There's a question here. Do you think that luxury real estate will be more stable and consistent during the digital transformations? How do you think the luxury real estate, market will be affected by this digital transformation age?
So I do think it's going to have stability, and I think that there's going to be there's going to be, first of all, every part of the country is going to be a little bit different. I mean, when you look at rural versus urban, when you look at density, New York with its tremendous density. I mean, I know there's already a lot of conversation about Greenwich and in the Hamptons and kind of trying to go to perhaps a little bit less dense less dense areas. People learning how to work from home, that's going to open up, I don't know if the world, in particularly the US, actually operates and works without New York. I think we need New York. But people that know, that now that you can work from home, and if you ever are going to be quarantined, again, the home's going to be a lot more important. So do you want to work, will people start looking at, better weather, areas? Will people start looking at, and I also think, not bringing into I'm only talking about behavior right now. For the sake of this conversation or for this point, I'm going to avoid talking about what's going to happen with the economy, unemployment, inflation, potential issues that we don't even know about yet. But for the sake of the human behavior, I predict that you're going to see a lot of sellers stay put, stay stable, feel really good about their home, refinance, do loan modifications. So I predict you're going to see a lot less supply. I think you're going to see a lot of buyers. And again, we're talking about the high end and the luxury, right? Which was the question. You're going to see a lot of buyers that have money are going to take advantage of some of these low interest rates, and perhaps they're a little bit unhappy with their home, and they're not really happy with, they'd like to, now that they're spending so much time in it, they'd actually like to change some things about it and, perhaps make a move. And I think that they're going to be looking for new homes, and you're going to see a lower supply. And there's still, particularly in California, a supply shortage. So we're going to see what happens with that. But again, We still have a lot to learn in terms of where this economy is going to bottom. We still have a lot to learn with, you know, the U.S. pumping trillions of dollars into the economy, and we don't know what that effect's going to be, you know, quite yet. We've certainly seen a resurgence of the stock market, you know, almost, you know, regain almost all of its losses. I mean, there's still some way to go, but certainly regained a lot of it.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
you know, there's still a lot of unknowns on that. But I think companies have to just be ready for it. Real estate agents, you know, we have to be prepared to take advantage of our clients in a different fashion. You then asked me to talk about me as a real estate agent and what I tell my clients and what I tell my staff. And you know, I think right now, the last 7 weeks has been a real good opportunity to reach out to clients, to again, look at your own personal business. And you know, we're looking at it from a macro perspective as the agency, but look at it as a personal, you know, as your agent. You know, each agent really does operate their own personal business, and they are entrepreneurs, and they are their own CEO and their own treasurer and their own CMO and all of those things. And so, you know, analyze what it is that you're doing. Be prepared for it. Be prepared for the next, you know, for coming out of this thing. You know, how are you going to service? How are you going to stand out? Get really knowledgeable on your areas. You know, reach out, take advantage, and actually get on the phone. A lot of the younger real estate agents, they don't seem to get on the phone. They seem to text. Get away from the text and get on the phone. Get on a Zoom
Right.
call. Like actually
Right.
make important contacts with your people,
Well,
and
yeah.
be ready for that.
The other thing that I heard you say that I thought was really great is, you know, if you have any listings, don't do price reductions right now. Hold on to them. And I'm actually seeing a lot of people working expired listings right now. For all those agents that aren't doing anything, there are ways that you can market listings right now, even during COVID. So I see the agents that are working right now are just going to really excel when this is over. So I definitely hear you. And so how do you think technology is going to change? Like, I mean, where do you think the future of real estate tech is? And the reason why I asked you this is during the prep call, we talked about, you know, like seller transparency and, you know, things like that. And I know that, you know, you and I had talked about, you know, what you're doing and with technology. So how do you think technology is going to change, you know, everything, especially after this, where people are forced to use technology to stay connected?
I mean, I think it's going to be super important, and I think that technology makes you a lot more efficient. I don't think technology will ever replace the real estate agent. You know, we're not, you know, I definitely don't think that, but I think that the real estate agent should to make them a lot more efficient. You know, the showing property to looky-loos, you know, you may not need to do that, you know, with all these virtual tours and with all of these other things. Like, just, you know, vet them out, right? Like, get them, you know, use technology to vet out the looky-loo, right? And understand, you know, what it is that you're doing. Transaction coordination, you know, is critical, right? I mean, something that you're great at, right?
So we talked about this. I think transaction coordination is really important, but, you know, one of the things that Propy does with transaction is that we think, like, you know, we produce products, and transaction management, I think, is just par for the course. Everybody has transaction management. There's like nothing innovative about it. And I think one of the things that we really strive to do here at Propy is really change the way you look at, you know, the transaction. And I mean, and I think I shared with you, and I'm actually going to share with the attendees at the end of this call. Mauricio, I know that you need to jump right after this, but we're going to be talking about the feature that we are launching at the end of this, which is the consumer interface. We actually added additional consumer interface where sellers could actually follow along when their transaction. And so we're going to be launching that feature as well. And so anybody who wants to stay after you know, Mauricio, you know, says his goodbyes can stay. We can definitely go through and do a full-on demo, because we're actually seeing agents being able to get more business by being more transparent. And that's all we can ask for, right? That's all we can do as agents.
I think transparency is empathy, transparency are critical and important characteristics and traits that an agent needs to have right now.
Yes, yes. And those are the ones that are succeeding and, not selling so hard, but, really caring. What's that saying? People don't care what you know unless they know you care. So, okay. Well, the other question here is, Mauricio, do you think that home showings will stay virtual and there'll be an increase in pocket listings? From Luis Sanchez.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, the NAR just told us we can't have pocket listings anymore. So that's, wow, we're opening up a big can of worms. I mean, I'm sure you all know that, I was an investor in something called the PLS, which is the Pocket Listing Service, which, the National Association of Realtors has basically decided that, we can't do anymore. Yet we're in the middle of this pandemic where more than ever, sellers want pocket listings and they don't want to be on the open market. And, I mean, I've never had more conversations with sellers right now asking me to not put their house on the market. And it's obviously we have to put it on the market, but it's going to be a very interesting time because of this. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I'm extremely opinionated on it. I'm going to guard some of my opinions on it for now, just because I think it's a horrendous move. I think it's a self-serving move. I don't think it is about it. I don't think it's a move to even the playing field. I think that is merely the excuse that NAR is using to be self-serving and to make money for themselves. I mean, that's my real opinion on that, but I'm gonna leave it at that, because if I go too much deeper, I'll get upset.
Well, Liz, there you go. You got your answer on that. I do think that staying virtual or showings are going to become a bit more popular.
Without question.
Without question. Yeah, I do think that. So Luz, thank you so much for that question. So I actually have another an interesting question. Now that this is what I'm curious. Now that venture money is no longer flowing as easily into brokerage, Mauricio, do you think it is going to benefit the agency? And if you do, which I think you do, how do you plan on capitalizing on that?
I think it's going to definitely benefit the agency. The agency was built on foundation of, the good old days, almost like Warren Buffett days, where, we have zero debt. We've never borrowed money, and we've never taken on investors to date. We are probably going to be looking at some of an investment soon, only for growth, and because we do want to, go global now. And but the agency from day one has operated based on its profits and its revenue, and we budgeted based on its profits and its revenue. And we've grown to 37 offices, strictly based on profits and revenue. So, we are having to make our adjustments now, and, we will cut back on, unfortunately, staff, and we already have done that. I mean, that was the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I can tell you that cutting back when you're such a tight family and all these people, and to have to do layoffs is extremely difficult. I didn't sleep for a week and a half, and it was the worst thing I've ever experienced, with the exception of a personal, death of a family member or anything like that. But we are making our adjustments. We will have to spend less on marketing. We'll have to spend less on, rents. We'll have to, do all of that stuff. But we've already made our budgets. We have an interim budget that we're about to put into effect that has us making money with already planning for a 35% drop of revenue, and hopefully we're able to sustain that 35%. And if we have to go deeper, we'll go deeper. But that's how we operate. We don't operate on they will come, venture money and, go IPO and, have a dream and, steal everybody's money. That's not how we operate. And we've grown from everybody that works at the agency wants to be at the agency. We're not a firm that goes and recruits. We're not a firm that has, deal. People that work at the agency, for most part, have reached out. We don't have a franchise salesperson yet. The majority of our franchisees have reached out. Wow. All 600 agents that work at the agency have reached out.
Wow.
Some have left. We definitely were not, some left for a lot of reasons, but the net has always, so far been a net positive. And I do think that if you're able to maintain that and run a fiscally responsible business, that you're going to come out ahead.
Right. Well, listen, I salute you. I mean, being number one, a private company with no debt gives you so much flexibility. You literally just write and do what and really that's how you can be innovative and continue to lead in different ways. I mean, I remember when you guys came out with your marketing, it was like I live in LA, so I remember when I first saw the agency marketing and I thought, oh, this is like the best thing ever. And I was a Keller Williams operating partner. I owned a Keller Williams office, and I was following the agency's marketing at the time with like 500 agents. But I will say that just continue to do that, and and I feel like you're just gonna continue to recruit. I know that there's a lot of brokers are on this call, and like this webinar attracts people from all different. It's not a brokerage webinar, is a real estate tech webinar, so it attracts people from all over. So thank you so much for joining us. I have one last question for you, and I'm actually going to change my screen when I ask the question because I think this is important. This is what I got from the agency, these 3 words. What does integrity, collaboration, and service mean to you?
Everything. That's our culture. That's our life. I mean, it's make every decision, do everything that you do with integrity. You're always going to make mistakes, but if you do it with integrity, even the mistakes will come from a good place. Collaboration is the family. It's open. It's transparency. It means everything in terms of hopefully, and quite honestly, we've actually, that is part of our culture, and that is part of what we talk about. But even being in these COVID times, we realized that our transparency was not as transparent as we wanted to be, and we're making an effort to now be even more transparent, and to be more open and to be more collaborative with all of our agents, with all of our staff. Everybody should know what our budgets are and how much money we have, and so we're going to be making, opening that up to everybody in our company now. From a collaboration perspective, we refer to agents working together. We don't consider ourselves competitors. We consider ourselves collaborators and colleagues and teammates, and we help each other find each other property, and we salute each other's successes, and we applaud each other's successes when we make a great sale. We don't have evil eyes when somebody has a great sale.
Right.
And that's part of the agency family. And quite honestly, that's why it's small. And quite honestly, that's why we've never really gone out to recruit, because if you're part of that world and you're part of that culture, you belong. If you don't, we can run a company and budget to however many people want to be part of this company. Okay. We don't need to be the biggest, and we don't need to be the smallest. It's meant to budget for whoever wants to be a part of it. And service, I think, speaks to itself, right? I mean, we are sometimes real estate agents forget that we're in the service industry. Sometimes, particularly now with so many real estate agents becoming celebrities and stars and all kinds of these amazing things, they don't realize that they are still in the service industry. And at the end of the day, we are in the service industry. And we're there to service our clients and to provide them the best service possible with integrity.
Right. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go to Q&A, and if anybody, and we're actually going to change and unmute people. If anybody has any questions, let us know. We'll do a quick Q&A. But before we kind of go through that, I just wanted to tell people that we are at Propy releasing our new interface, and this is the consumer interface for the seller. So I'll be doing a demo on that at the end here. So if you would like to stay, that would be great. This is where you can manage your offers and share it with your sellers. So talking about what Mauricio says about Tracy. So we've been doing these webinars weekly, guys, and we had some amazing people, everybody from Rob Hahn, doing the pitch, look at people's P&Ls and talking about, different cuts and things like that. And also marketing that we had from Katie Lance last week. So that was absolutely amazing. And next coming week, we have, ta-da! So right after you, Mauricio, we have John Arrow and Sherry Chris.
Two of my favorite people. I love them both. John Arrow is amazing, and Sherry Chris is just an absolute doll. So you guys will have a great time with them.
Oh no, it's going to be a yes, and what we're going to be talking about next week, same time, is lessons from legends who have thrived after 8 real downturns. So I get this question all the time, folks. What were you doing? What did you do? Like, so many people are comparing what's happening now to what happened in 2008, because that's the last downturn. But I mean, when you sit with two people like Sherry and John, I'm telling you, they've been through so many. There are lessons that, it's just going to be a wealth of knowledge. So, I'm actually going to go now to see if there's any other questions here. I know that, what you guys don't realize.
I see 2 questions on your Q&A. So if you don't mind, I'll get to them.
Sure.
Just to help you out here. So Gwyneth Iredale is asking, how did we get 100% adoption rate on our ERP CRM system? And, when we were born and we were founded, we were looking, we were lucky enough to start in these times where technology was already kind of an important factor. And so we kind of wanted to be a paperless office. And so we started playing around with a bunch of different CRM systems. We bought them all. We used them all, and eventually realized that there was nothing out there that was a full, you can operate the entire brokerage transaction A to Z. And so we ended up having to build our own. Our CTO, Shane Farkas, who's spoken at a lot of Inmans and is an amazing guy, came to us and told us that he could build a CRM for $250,000. Well, I would say about $4 million later, we're still building it. So I think he was off by just a few zeros.
I agree. People don't know how expensive it is to build technology until you do it, right?
Oh my God. But I got to tell you, it was also some of the best money we've spent. And Gwyneth, the only way we do it is that the entire company operates on it. So if you don't adopt it, you can't work at the agency. And sorry, I'm looking this way. I have a big monitor, so I'm seeing this way. But if you don't adopt our system, you can't work at the agency. You can't get paid. You can't run an ad. You can't order an ad. You can't enter your escrow. That you just can't operate. It's impossible. So if it's not something that you belong in, what ends up happening is you just don't work at the agency. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's the only way to get 100% adoption. There's another question here from Luba Sidor, in Winchester County, New York, and we are not allowed to cold call during COVID-19. Besides trying to market ourselves on social media, what is your best advice to target potential sellers? Call your clients, call your sphere of influence, call your friends, call your relationships, call the people that are in your church, in your temple, in your country club. Make connections. Don't call and ask for business. Just call and make connections, and just ask them how they are. Ask real questions. Ask them about their family, about their relationship, about how they're doing in their house, about how they're doing in everything. And finish off by just asking, if there's anybody that they know that they think that they might be interested in selling. Don't look desperate. Come from a place of strength. Let them know that during COVID-19 you put on for your company in escrow and things are still working. Let them know that, and let them know that they're still buyers, but then go and ask for the business or ask for a referral. And you can do that very elegantly. And I actually find that a lot better. Forget about COVID-19. That is a way better technique to generate leads than cold calling anyway. So change your practice to that versus cold calling, and I promise you'll see an increase in your business. So that's all I see there, Alex. I don't know if you see any more questions.
Yeah.
I don't see any more, but
Yes, I don't see any more. Does anybody have any questions? So I think we got about
see
5
there
minutes left.
There is
Go ahead.
one question from Jose. Hi, Mauricio. Hi, Alex. Great discussion.
Hi,
Thank
Natalia.
you. So yeah, there is a question from Jose Alejandro. Jose, do you want to tell your question?
I don't see it on here.
The question is, let me read it then. Do you think luxury real estate will be more stable and consistent during digital transformation?
oh, we answered that question.
Yeah, we answered that during the webinar.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
That's okay. Oh, yeah, we answered that. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right. So
Well,
think
I see Luis. I think Luis is trying to ask something. You should unmute
Oh.
yourself. No. Luis, if you could unmute you.
There you go. Sorry about that. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Mauricio. Hi, Alex. I had a question about what you see in the progression of the finance world with the real estate agents going and getting their NMLO license to practice both and not coming back. Do you think it's going to go into an agent being more orientated towards getting loans and then getting the clients, or sticking to the real estate side only?
Luis, would you please ask the question again? You cut out in the middle of it and I only heard small pieces of it. It sounded like a very interesting question. So please ask it again.
So the question was, with the NMLO licenses coming to the real estate side and the agents trying to survive with getting refinances or getting any kind of lending, do you think that would be a good direction to approach the market to stay alive and then go back to real estate when it picks up?
Great question. I think everybody has to, understand really what they're great at. And I think you have to look at yourself and you have to understand what, you're good at. Like I would not be good at that. Okay. I think that, yeah, survival is going to be critical. I mean, I speak to my cousins and my friends, and there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out how in the world they're going to survive. I have a lot of friends that have been laid off. I have a lot of friends that are in different industries and they're trying to figure out their survival mode. And all I can tell you is, yeah, be open, do whatever you have to do right now. It's going to get tough. And if you feel like that's something that, that you can be good at, it could be a great tool to survive while you get back to your, brokerage world.
Sounds good. Thank you. Hey, and then my wife says, thanks for being on the show with your wife. She watches that show all the time with the wife.
It's on tonight, episode 3 of season 10. So please watch.
Sounds good. Good entertainment. Thank you.
Do you guys, I have a question and you don't have to answer, do you watch the show together with your wife when it comes out?
No, we don't.
I've always thought, oh, okay. I always wondered, like, what would that be like to see something?
It would suck. My wife likes to speak with her fans and the people and everybody that follows her. So when that show comes on, she gets on Twitter, and she's working while it's on, and it's actually, as her husband, kind of annoying because I just want to talk to her. And we already know what, and et cetera, et cetera. So I actually go to another room and just sometimes watch it and then and watch it by myself. But yeah, working it.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you. All right.
Thank
I know,
you,
Mauricio,
Alex.
we got another minute left. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next time. And with Sherry and John, which promises to be amazing. So thank you, Mauricio, for really just giving kindly and giving all the agents and brokers here advice. And we will see you soon, and we will see everybody here next week, same time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.